In this video, we're going to review radicals to get you ready for solving quadratic equations with square roots. First off, a radical is any expression has a square root, a cube root, a fourth root, a fifth root, etc. The radical symbol is this, and sometimes you might have a third root or a fourth root or a fifth root or something like that. But if there's no number, it's understood to be a square root. Let's list our first 20 perfect squares. That would be 1 times 1, 2 times 2, 3 times 3, 4 times 4, 5 times 5, and so on and so forth. So there's the first 20. And you can pause the video if you'd like to get those copied down. Okay, here's how you simplify radicals. Case number 1, sometimes you might have a perfect square. And if you have a perfect square, which again are these numbers, if I ask you the square root of 16, you can just take the square root of that. Square root of 16 is 4. Case number 2 is non-perfect squares. You're going to break the radical down using the largest perfect square. We're going to take the square root of the perfect square and leave the leftover under the radical. For both cases, if there is a coefficient outside the radical, we're going to multiply this coefficient by the number that you take out. And we'll explain that as we go. So let's simplify some of these. Square root of 49. We know that one, that's 7, because 7 times 7 is 49. 225, also you can look at the list, is a perfect square. The square root of 225 is 15. 2 times the square root of 144. Now that would be 2 times, this is what we're saying, if there's a coefficient out front, once you take and simplify this, you're going to multiply that coefficient by the simplified form. Square root of 144 is 12. And we don't leave it as 2 times 12, we actually multiply it, final answer 24. Number 4. The square root of a fraction can be split. You can do the square root of the top and the square root of the bottom separately. Square root of 4 is 2, square root of 9 is 3, and you're done. That's 2/3. Square root of the top is 1, the square root of the bottom is 9. Square root of the top is 6, the square root of the bottom is 11. So those are pretty easy. Okay, number 7. Number 7, we're starting, I don't know the square root of 112. We're starting the ones that we have to simplify. The way we're going to simplify, we're going to split it. We're going to split it into the largest square root we know that's inside of that 112 times the leftover. So what we're going to do, we're going to take our 112 and we're going to divide it by the square root so we know. I know the square root of 4, and that will actually divide, but is that the largest square root in that 112? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to divide it by maybe 9, see if it will divide evenly, and it will not, so we can't use 9. We can take 112, try to divide it by 16, which is our next perfect square root, and that will divide, and it gives us 7. So therefore, that's going to be the largest one. We can split this into 16 times 7. Once you have it split, now just clean it up. The square root of 16 is 4, and the square root of 7, you don't know, so leave it as 4 root 7. Square root of 245, let's split it. Find the largest square root that you know inside of 45, and you do so again by just dividing. I believe that 245 will divide by 49. Let's check that. It will, and you get 5. Now here's what you do. Once you find one that works, how do I know that's the largest one? Look at what you have left and ask yourself, could I split that again? Is there another perfect square root in that 5? And there's not, so therefore you're finished. Square root of 49 is 7. Square root of 5, I don't know, so let's leave it. Number 9, 5 times the square root of 72. Now the square root of 72, let's come out to the side and split it over here. I know the square root of 9, and you can split it into 9 times 8. But again, ask yourself, is there another square root inside of that 8 that I could have found? And yes, it's 4. So therefore, there's another value that I could have used, and that's going to be a 36. So let's split it into 36 times 2 instead. So the square root of 36 gives you 6. Leave the square root of 2. Now the 5 that was out front, you do have to multiply it, and we now have 30 root 2. Okay, number 10. 9 root 45, leave the 9, bring it down, root 45, come over here, I'm going to split. That one's pretty easy one. Divide it by all your perfect roots. It is divisible by 9, and we're going to split it into 9 times 5. Clean it up. Square root of 9 is 3, and leave the root 5. 9 times 3 can now be multiplied, and you get 27 root 5. Number 11, root 250. Let's split it. I know I can split it into 25 times 10, but the question is there any other perfect roots in 10? Can you divide it by 4? No. Can you divide it by 9? No. So that's it. So therefore, the square root of 25 is 5. Bring down the square root of 10, and you get 5 root 10. And the last one, bring down the 3, and let's try to come over here and split the square root of 578. Now, let's try some. You can, let's see, try 4, see if it works. Try 9, try 16, try 25, try 36. You can divide it on your calculator, and you'll find out that 289 is the largest perfect root that you know in 578. So we're going to divide it, and you find out that 289 will go into it twice. So we're going to split it into root 289 times root 2. So the square root of 289, we're going to clean it up, gives you 17. And you just bring down the root 2. So you now have 3 times 17 times root 2, which would be 3 times 17 is 51 root 2.